Hello YouTube, this is rarest coming at you my first ever toy review. If you watched my collection video that I posted yesterday, I mentioned towards the end of it, when I showed off this figure, saying that I was probably going to put up a review of it. Mostly due to suggestions I've gotten from my friends, and because this is probably one of the rarest figures on my collection, maybe the rarest, and I don't see many reviews of it up on YouTube. So, here it is. The Bandai DX Godzilla 2002. Now, the way that I'll do my figure reviews is similar to Goji 73 and Samson West, where I go over history, detail, articulation, sizing, and then final thoughts and rarity. So for this suit's history, if my memory serves me correct, this is a modified Godzilla 2000 suit. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct or not, but other than that, I know that this suit appeared in 2 movies. Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla in 2002, which that is this version. You can tell because he doesn't have a scar on the chest. In Tokyo SOS, he had a scar on his chest to kind of signify that. But Bandai never made a proper 6-inch vinyl of this suit. And if you want one in a vinyl type style, this is probably your best bet. But if you want a proper like actual 6-inch scale Godzilla 2002, you're probably going to have to get stuck with the Monster Arts one, but scale we'll get to later. So for his history, well, everyone knows Godzilla's history, and I don't want to explain it, but in this movie, he appears in Tokyo, or in Japan, and he fights Kiryu, the third Mechagodzilla. Then, towards the end of the movie, Mechagodzilla uses his ultimate weapon, the Absolute Zero Cannon, on him while flying over into the sea, and they crash into water or the ocean, and he uses the Absolute Zero Cannon, and there's a huge kind of iceberg that kind of forms after that, and Godzilla walks out with a huge scar on his chest. He then returns in the next movie, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, with a scar on his chest to fight Mechagodzilla and then Mothra, because she joins in that movie. Tokyo SOS is my personal favorite Godzilla movie, just because I think Mothra's inclusion was actually an interesting idea, and I kind of like how they incorporated it instead of people just saying, Mothra's in it just because she shouldn't need to be. But this isn't a movie review, it's a toy review. But eventually, Kiryu breaks free of the control that he's under by, humans and military, and he decides to take Godzilla into the ocean while he is wrapped up in the Larva Mothra's kind of webbing, and crashes into the ocean to kind of be at rest with Godzilla while making sure he isn't dead. So that's the history behind this Godzilla. Now on to detail. I'm sorry if the camera's really shaky. I'm recording this with my phone and I don't really have a proper stand for this. But detail on this is actually really, really good. I really love how detailed this figure is. It looks great, in my opinion. One thing that I know that a lot of people say about this figure is the spikes. The spikes look phenomenal on this figure, in my opinion. I think the way that they look on the figure really make it pop and stand out. So personally, I just really, really, really like this figure. I think that the detail is really good. Now onto articulation. This is going to be a bit trigger for me to do because I'm only doing it with one hand. The head rotates, but something I want to point out is that this figure isn't made of vinyl. This figure is made of actual hard plastic, so moving the joints is a bit difficult. The arms at the shoulder joint actually rotates. He has the regular bicep rotation. The reason I'm doing it on this arm is because this one on mine is extremely, extremely loose. So I'm just going to be rotating this arm. And then over kind of at this area, rotates there. Nice and smoothly. The legs rotate up about that much. And he even has a slight bend at the knee. Though I think this knee kind of works better with the bend. So yeah, fairly good articulation in my opinion, and kind of pre-Monster Arts in a way, but yeah, I think the articulation on this guy is actually very, very good and helps make him stand out. Now, I didn't mention this earlier in the video, but this figure actually has a sound effect. The proper name that I think a lot of people give this is the DX Roaring Godzilla, because inside of his tail, there's an on-off switch. Apparently the switch is already on, it's just I didn't know. And then there's a big old button on his chest. Push that. Yeah. Originally I thought that kind of gimmick would be kind of annoying to have with a figure, but personally I think it works fairly well. Now on to sizing. I kind of have my figures off to the side, and again I'm recording with one hand, so I'm sorry if the camera gets shaky. But I'll size them with the main monster that everyone remembers they fought. Kiryu. Now this sizing, in my opinion, is not accurate, and it isn't accurate. This Godzilla is more borderline 7 inches, and I don't know if it was entirely meant to be in scale with kind of the regular movie Monster Series figures. And if this were to be accurate, Mechagodzilla would be like up to here. So basically these sizes would have to be swapped. But even with the sizing being off, I still think these two look really good together. Next opponent that he fought, sorry for the shaky camera again, Mothra. Now this is technically the Final Wars Mothra, but it was the closest thing I got to Tokyo SOS. And I think this actually works fairly well. In my opinion. I think that they're sized up fairly well. Next, we'll compare him to the bones of his father used to build Mechagodzilla, the 54 Godzilla. And I think this works pretty good. Because I think, like, Godzilla and growing over time, this actually works fairly well, in my opinion. And final figure, the suit that I believe is modified to make, Godzilla 2000. Now this Godzilla 2000 figure is rather on the large side. He's very bulky. He's not the tallest, but he's very bulky in comparison, as you can see. But yeah, I think these two look pretty good together. Godzilla 2000 is my personal favorite suit. But that's not it for this figure. I got this figure at G-Fest. Actually, I got him in the box. Yes, I was lucky enough to get this figure in the box. The box is in relatively good shape, No, I mean, a few scratches here and there. Nothing too bad. Oh, well, there's a little smush there. Then you get to the back. Yeah. The back is not in very good shape, but, I mean, it does display what the figure can do. There's all the articulation book, points, the sound effect, switch. The tail is actually made of a rubber material they have to insert, and you have the batteries that kind of plug into that area, and that's what gives them the sound. I believe they're LR44 batteries you need. And they do come with the figure, so, yeah. I was really happy that I managed to get this figure in the box, because I think it looks pretty good standing next to it. Now on to the final part of the review, rarity. Rarity on this figure is very, it's wildly inconsistent in my opinion. If you check hard enough and you check long enough, you'll probably find this figure. I originally found this figure online for $10 by design, but for some reason I passed on it and didn't get it, which I kind of regret. But yeah, this figure, if you check hard enough, you'll probably be able to find him, but he's not common to find. He's relatively difficult to find. But if you check long enough and search hard enough, you can find him. But for price, it's rapidly different. Again, I found one in relatively good condition, out of the box, loose, without the box, for like $10. But recently I saw one sell, I think towards the end of last year, for like $40 out of the box. But I picked up mine at G-Fest for $60 in the box. So, yes. So that is my review of the Bandai TX Godzilla 2002. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.